Greetings and welcome to another new Warhammer 40,000 Kill Team video, where today I'm going over the newly revealed solo and co-op modes for the next edition, or the third edition of Kill Team. But before we get into things, please remember to like and subscribe as well as comment. Let me know what you thought of today's video. What do you think of solo and co-op mode? You know, give me your thoughts. And remember, I've got a Discord you can check out for free in the episode description below, and a Filling Element Games, and a Patreon if you want to give me some more support as well. But yeah, I've just rushed back from gym. I actually sorted out everything early today because I was gonna do some prep shopping for Nova, and then another article drops. So obviously I have to make a video, but it's fine. I'm really hyped for solo and co-op mode. It looks like it might be the new narrative mode for Kill Team. So obviously on the Warhammer community website, the article will be down below. They've revealed more about solo and co-op mode and how it exactly works, because we've been introduced that it's basically a new way to kind of introduce people to the game of Kill Team, and it looks like it also replaces narrative play. But let's go into the article. So solo and co-op mode is called Joint Ops, and as the article says, it's found in the core rulebook. So it's part of the core rules for Kill Team. It basically covers cooperative and solo play, where you basically play against an AI-controlled opponent with yourself or another friend. So as Games Workshop describe it, solo and co-op mode are basically PvE missions. They're designed to just introduce you and your, friend how to play Kill Team, because it's a new interesting way to teach games, because usually it's for Kill Team, it's you versus your opponent, and then you either do stuff that is really basic to let them win, or you unintentionally smash them into the ground. But it's not always the best way to learn, and this way, you instead of like playing against someone, you can now go like, I'll take this half of the Kill Team, you take this half, we're gonna like either try and hold a last stand, make a path to get these objectives, or try and run off the board. That kind of stuff. So more of a narrative way, but still a better way to introduce someone, because now you're playing with someone instead of playing against them. But they mentioned that there are 3 missions in the core rulebook that basically cover casual play and more, narrative play, I guess. But they also mentioned that there are going to be more expansions to solo and co-op mode in the future. So this might be probably 3 mission packs, or maybe it might come in like the Kill Team Hivestorm book. So maybe with every expansion we get more solo and co-op missions, which would be pretty nice. But they describe how factions are selected. So basically both players start by selecting their Kill Team, which can either be a single faction, or you split 2 different factions between each other in any way, which way, and sort. And you're not restricted by like faction alliances or like narrative reasons. I mean, you can definitely do that, but in the book it shows that you could have like orcs with Tau, but you could have Space Marines and Chaos Space Marines. You could have Eldar and Tau, that kind of stuff. The possibilities are endless, which is really, really nice. I know some people are going to be a bit upset it's not very structured from what we can see so far, but remember the point of this is to either tell a story or tell a story while also teaching someone about the core principles of Kill Team. So your opponents are called NPOs, which are non-player operatives. They're basically general enemies. Like you've got basically light, middle, and heavy classes of opponents, and they're just generic. You can use basically any model in your collection to represent them, but they all have pre-programmed directives. So for example, they mentioned brawlers or about basically your melee operatives, while marksmen are more focused on shooting. In the breakdown we have here, you can see each MPO has an order of actions, and you basically go down the list to see what they do, because they are basically pre-programmed. So for example, with the brawler, when it's activated, you can perform either its first 2 actions during its activation, and you give it an engage order. If it cannot, give it a conceal. So if you can fight, give it an engage, and if you can charge, you then charge. The only weird thing here is if you activate, you charge, and then don't fight unless charge is now 2 AP. I don't know. You can also reposition towards the closest enemy operative to cover if possible, and you can then combine that with a dash to do so. So it looks like, I guess, reposition is now move. Well, I mean, I guess move is now reposition, which is fine, but you have a basic idea of how brawlers work. And then for marksmen, when they are activated, they can perform the shoot action during their activation, then give it the engage order. If it cannot, you give it a conceal order. So its first action, it will fall back. So for example, if it's tied in combat, it will immediately fall back. Then its second action, if it can't fall back, it will shoot. And then after it's shot, it can reposition to cover. And then after that, it will do a dash. So you've got it's more clearly laid out for the marksman. So like if they're tied in combat, they fall back. If they don't fall back, they shoot. If they don't have a valid target, they move, and then they can also then dash. So basically quite similar to how the Dark Tide board games work, which makes sense considering I believe it was probably run by the same team. For selecting NPOs, the missions you play have a tally of wounds, and NPOs are chosen from a list of universal data cards that add up to that total wounds tally. As I mentioned, these are just like placeholders. You can use whatever miniatures in your collection you want to represent them, so you don't have to be fixed by like, oh, I want to use like a Tyranid Warrior, but I don't have the Tyranid Warrior data card. You're not limited by that. And then they go over through the archetypes. For example, a tough brawler has 2 APL, 6-inch move, a 4-up save, and 10 wounds with blades that are 4 attacks, hit on 4s, 4/5 ceaseless. Basically kind of your average commando. Then you've got like your heavy marksman, which is 3 APL, 6-inch move, 3-up save, 14 wounds, and then has a firearm, which is 4 attacks, hit on 3s, 3/4, and it can perform 2 shoot actions. So basically an intercessor. And you can use whatever appropriate models to represent them, but it's a nice guideline. I'm sure there's a lot of more types, but I'm okay with this as it's nice and simple to keep like your opponent, so you don't have to worry too much when you're trying to teach your friend or whoever you're teaching to play Kill Team. For the missions of solo and co-op mode, both found in the core book, they are based on Killzone Vocus and Killzone Galadark. So basically 3rd edition terrain and Into the Dark. They are basically the most fun Killzones to play on. And, you know, it's just a shame for Beta Decima. I still believe Beta Decima will be used in the new edition of Kill Team, but it's funny they're not mentioned in solo and co-op mode. Maybe they'll be as part of an expansion, but to be honest, Into the Dark and what looks like Killzone Vocus, which is open, look like to be really fun and interesting Killzones to play on while offering a nice different but interesting way to play, whereas Beta Decima can be quite warping. But other than that, that's all the core rules. I assume for solo up and co-op mode, you might have to you might be given a list of missions to complete and you just pick one, like either control objectives, kill amount of operatives, or other narrative elements. But so far, it's pretty interesting, and Games Workshop say they are committed to it and plan to release future expansions, and they mention it again at the end of the article, including new missions, enemies, and even kill zones. But they also mentioned they'll be released free online and in future products, so as I guessed, probably every time we get a new expansion for Kill Team. So overall for solo and co-op mode, from what we've seen so far, I still like it. I've actually played a lot of narrative Kill Team myself. And if this is replacing narrative Kill Team, it looks way more streamlined and fun. It is a bit unstructured, but I think narrative players will find that fine in general, because we're going to have basically guidelines for missions and objectives. So narrative TOs and like game GMs will be able to just string something up either for an event or a campaign. And it looks really fun, right? I actually really like the co-op element, and the solo mode is good if you just want to learn the basics by yourself, because from what they've shown so far, the basic behavioral patterns of NPOs seem quite straightforward. They would be what you want to do in general if you were actually controlling those operatives. I mean, probably if you wanted the best experience, you would have a third party also control the NPOs. But I think it's better to play co-op mode where you actually playing with someone to play against, well, the NPOs, because I actually really enjoy PvE gameplay myself, right? That's what I like the most about the Space Marine game. So I can definitely see the appeal there. And I like how it's basically just very free form. You can split up your teams how you like. You can maybe give your opponent half the kill team, a third of the kill team, 3/4 of the kill team, and like you can just mix and match with whatever. So it sounds like a really good way to get people into the game while also being really fun. And I know compendium players, you're all appearing out of nowhere, but you've got some way to use your operatives at least. And I guess if you wanted to, you could probably reverse engineer some of these NPOs for your compendium teams. But it's a good use for compendium teams. I actually have a lot of compendium teams, which I can now use as just NPOs. I may even do like solo, well, probably not solo, maybe co-op, battle report, something like that, because you can definitely twist it into a more narrative element. And they do repeatedly show Tyranids in the article, so you could definitely represent your kill team or kill teams fighting off against a Tyranid horde. But that's pretty much it from me today. Please remember to like and subscribe as well as comment. Let me know what you thought of today's article and video. Do you like solo and co-op mode so far? What do you think? Do you think it replaces narrative mode? Because it looks like it is. And remember, I've got a Discord you can check out for free in the episode description below, and a affiliate link at Element Games, and a Patreon if you want to give me some more support. And I'll quickly shout out my patrons. So for my adepts of the crit, I have Tom, Supercow, Steven, Sam, Nick, Mr. Meatwad, Mercenary Q, Lucas, John Thomas Graham, Dave Meets World, Dad of Goldens, Chris, and for my veterans of the crit, I have Sam Just. So thank you so much for your support. It really means a lot to me and helps support the channel. But yeah, it's like, you know, my patrons and Discorders made this meme, and it's like, this is turning into my life, but it's fine. I actually am enjoying covering all the news for Kill Team. I haven't done this before, and I'm just really hyped. I'm very happy with how the new edition is going from what I've seen. You know, I'm also getting a lot of message from Compendium players that I didn't know existed, but I appreciate Compendium players. It's not a great spot, especially with a Deathwatch player, but solo and co-op mode looks really interesting. And yeah, it actually looks like a really fun way to introduce people to the game. And I wonder if Games Workshop will reverse engineer it for their other game systems, because it's actually a really good way, and I believe a lot of people were teaching people how to play anyway. But that's pretty much it. Remember, no matter how many MPOs you're facing against, there's always a chance to win, as long as you can roll a crit.